Yeah, what I will talk and try to explain is something that you can't understand. It's really a fantastic thing, the Dharma, because it's not to be understood, because your thinking mind is limited. Your thinking mind produces the conditioned world. The conditioned world produces suffering. It's a free country. You can do what you want, but you will suffer if you continue to live in the conditioned world. Actually, I was inspired by this talk by the ninth chapter. I was supposed to give it on a study group. It says, designation is no designation. Now, what does that mean to you? In other words, designation is a name. Whatever you name is not real. No designation. It's no name. But what's no name? So, like in the Heart Sutra, is the litany of all negation. So you have to negate what you see is not ultimate reality. That's what it comes down to. But we're so conditioned. We love to be entertained. This is the world of entertainment. Well, horrible things are happening all over the world. You know, this is a degeneration period of the Dharma. Not just the Dharma, but when you look around, the entire world is being degenerated. So, actually, the first chapter in this book, Diamond Sutra, and the Sutra of Hunin, the first chapter in the study group was about the convocation of the assembly. And all it talks about is the Buddha putting on his robe, the Buddha picking up his baking bowl, the Buddha walking to town, the Buddha in the proper manner begged for his food, walked back. This is Dharma right there, because there's no objective thinking, no conditioned thinking. His demeanor is in the action, which is, right here, right now, in the action. Zen is action. It's not philosophy. It is philosophy, but the action of philosophy, because you realize ultimate reality. So does that sound like a big cup? Actually, you don't have much of a choice. It's not a free country. It's just an illusion. Okay, so that was just a convocation of the assembly. It's all his action, his presence in his action. He is where he is. You are where you are. That's difficult, because you're somebody else, someplace else, even being here. So number 9 again, real designation is undesignated. It means this is a table, and it is not a table. Because as soon as you say it's a table, you've objectified it. And that's the conditioned world that most people live in. And that conditioned world causes suffering. But when you negate it, it means this is a table, and it isn't a table. It isn't just an object. The table is me. I am the table. We are one. And with that kind of a direct experience, your whole life becomes different. There's nothing outside of you. You contain everything. not in an egotistical way, but in an impartial way. The subject is you, and the object is you. There's no distinction between duality. When there is distinction, then it makes us suffer. It doesn't make happiness. Okay. So, yeah, I like the glossary. It talks about, as we pass through the historical names and things, it seems like our names become shorter and shorter and shorter. It's just called the Diamond Sutra, because that's pretty short. But actually, it's a long. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30 letters to the Diamond Sutra. And we for convenience, we've cut it down to a very few. But okay, Vajra Kadika Prajna Paramita Sutra. So Vajra, it means the cutter, the diamond cutter. And this is a Vajra. This is a Vajra, and Tibetans use it with the bell. This is the male symbol, and the bell is the woman's symbol. This is what cuts. This is the diamond. It cannot be cut. It cuts. Yeah? It's a diamond. Okay? And I always remembered it on Suzuki-roshi's altar. So I naively asked Trungpa. I talked to him about it, and he handed me his Vajra. So, when you receive a religious object, it should be blessed. In other words, it doesn't remain a religious object. It's not sacred anymore. People have statues of Buddhas at home, but actually it's not good karma for them because you're imprisoning that statue who has a life. So the object becomes blessed, which makes it sacred. And when you bless an object, it's not doing anything, not thinking of anything. When you bless an object, then it's sacred. So you see people with all kinds of bracelets and beads, but they're not blessed. They're just objects. It's in fashion. It's a fashion. It doesn't mean anything. Okay? So this is the diamond cutter, and this refers to the Diamond Sutra. It's the penetration of the how would you say that? It's the penetration of the impenetrable. Yeah, that's the opposites. So you can't think in this. This should stop you from thinking. So that's the diamond, and it cuts through all matter. Only the diamond does that, and it cannot be cut itself. And even with the tiniest light, it's resplendent, shines, and even underwater it still shines. So that's the Vajra Kadika. Prajna is wisdom. It's the first and best kind of realized insight. It's beyond knowledge. it's not information like you go to school for. It's the knowledge or the wisdom you have within yourself. It's nowhere else to be found. And the Bodhisattvas, in the glossary, I like this very much. It's the Bodhisattva ideal. But you know, these are just words and concepts. But this is what a Bodhisattva, an enlightened, Bodhi is enlightened, Sattva is being, but in this case, it's warrior. Warrior. It's hero or heroine. It's the best. And by being the best, they have these four qualities, these six characteristics, and they are the paramitas. And Vajra, Kadika, Prajna, Paramita. Okay, Prajna is the highest wisdom, the highest insight a human being can realize, can actualize. And now Paramita are the qualities of that actualization. The first one is giving, danya. You have to give. How many times do you give a day? Second one is forbearance. You know, for the forbearance. That's not much of a modern word now, but to forbear, to carry forward the burden, the resolve. The third one's energy. You have to have the energy to do it. Energy. When you become lazy in your daily life, just turn it around, turn it into energy. Because laziness is energy, but it's dead energy. I mean, that's what I try to do when your mind becomes lazy. Turn it around, right there, right then. See what happens. Energy, spirit. And then 4 is patience. And patience, Shanti, is, Suzuki-roshi describes it as constancy. Constancy, like the water wears down the stone. It's a constancy. It's not being patient. It's constancy of doing the same thing over and over. And the stone is worn through. And the 5th one, which I like very much, it says meditation. But the 5th one is intensive meditation. Intensive. So that you are worn out. The you who you think you are is worn out. And because it's worn out, something begins to surface. It's not just sitting down. It's not like other meditation. The meditation is designed to wear your thinking mind out. Okay? I like that very much. This is in the glossary. I never seen that anywhere. It's just as meditation, but people have different thousands of interpretations about meditation. But Zen meditation is intensive meditation, whether it's a 1 day, a 3 day, a 5 day, a 7 day. The first day, or depending if it's a 1 day, 2 day, the first part of it, it'll just reflect everything that's been happening in your life. Your mind is going around and around and around. Okay? That's what it's telling you. It's true. Everybody was not that we're unique in that way. It's every human being. Okay? And then the teacher is supposed to say this, and I forget also. Like in the 7-day session, the 3rd day, the teacher at the end of the 3rd day encourages the students to keep going, because you'll get the second win. Because by the 3rd day you're worn out. If it's a 1 day, maybe it's the morning you're worn out. But you're worn out is the most important thing. You cannot be who you think you are when you enter this realm. Okay? Intensive meditation. And of course, intensive meditation leads you to wisdom, to your insight of who you are. Okay? So there we have it. Diamond cutter, prajna, the wisdom, and the 6 paramitas. And the last part is paramita. Paramita means it's the best. It's the highest anyone could wish for. It's complete satisfaction. It's not going backwards. You don't slide backwards. You are not just happy, you are joyous. Your life is joyous. Even in bad times, your life remains joyous. Not that you don't acknowledge the bad times and see what's happening around the world. Your life is joyous. So paramita means going over to the other shore. Because we're on this vehicle, we're going over to the other shore. We're going over the sea of suffering, the ocean of suffering that you needlessly not spend your life in, or other people. You're going over the sea of suffering. And to the other shore, but that other shore is this shore. It's right here, right now, right in front of you, wherever you are. It's not over there. Okay? And at the end of their explanation of the Vajra Kadika Prajna Paramita Sutra, they say, but whatever significance, whatever you understand about what I have just said, this is not true. Because you are approaching it through your knowledge of understanding. It's not the truth. Until you realize it, directly realize it, then it becomes true. Understand? I never talked like this before, but it's true. Diamond Sutra, the cutter, the Vajra. And these dialogues are with the Buddha of Avalokiteshvara, and it was with Subhuti and Shariputra. And Zen students belong to the Hinayana tradition, the lesser vehicle. You are not in the Mahayana tradition until you have direct experience and you postpone your liberation for the liberation of all sentient beings. You postpone your liberation. The Hinayana is for self-liberation. That's what I never thought about, but that's what Zen students are. They're Hinayana. They're not Mahayana, because they're looking for the carrot. Okay? But you have to move into the Mahayana, the greater vehicle. It evolved out of self-liberation to the liberation of all humanity. You postpone your liberation until all humanity is saved. And then there's a sentence which I love, but there's no use. The Bodhisattva's vow is to save all sentient beings, but there's no use. You can't save them. You know why? They're already saved. You are already saved, but you still have to realize it. Okay? So there's no one to be saved. The words but the meaning are different. And at the end, again, it says, whatever you think of or understand from this talk is not real. Right? It makes sense, doesn't it? Okay. And so Subhuti, actually, there were a few of these disciples, Buddha's top disciples, that Ananda, Subhuti, Shariputra, that were born, Bodhidharma, were born into a very wealthy family. So that was a great cause for them to be able to read, to have that luxury of time and place. And so Subhuti, this Diamond Sutra was Subhuti was looking for the truth, and of course he was in the Hinayana, the Theravadin stage. So he was still looking, he wasn't really satisfied with his tradition, to make it short. But one day, as he was walking, he met a disciple of the Buddha. His name was Ashvajit. And he was a new disciple of the 5 disciples, right? And Subhuti noticed him because of his countenance, his demeanor, how he sat, how he walked, what he did, his action. So he asked him who his teacher was, and he said it was the Buddha, the Tathagata. And he said, could you repeat some of his teaching? And he did. And this teaching is the greatest teaching instruction in humanity. I used to read it like an object, but it's the truth. It's the greatest teaching ever in the history of humanity. And this was 2,589 years ago. Okay, now listen to this. Ye Dharma. Ye means primordial. Dharma means things. Primordial things, okay? Primordial things, not things. Not object, but primordial, origin, hetu, origin of things, okay? So this was Buddha's words. Of all things produced from causes. Everything is produced from causes. Of all things produced from causes. The Tathagata, the Buddha, has proclaimed their causes and their cessation. In other words, all these causes can end if you realize it. And these causes are our craving, our desires, our anger, our hidden anger and aversion, and our, what Trungpa said about ignorance, our confusion. That's a better word for ignorance, our confusion. Those 3 are the cause of our suffering. And there's cessation to these 3 causes. Yeah, this was one of the greatest proclamations in humanity. I mean, see some other proclamations about the atom bomb, someone's, I don't know the doctor's name, vitamin C. But think about it. The greatest proclamation in humanity. And this is what the path, but the path takes a strong resolve. It takes strong suffering to make you wake up that you don't want to go this way anymore. And when you don't go this way anymore, you can still participate in the relative world. You can take a bus in San Francisco. You can find a parking space in San Francisco. There's always a parking space waiting for you. Someone asked me if I was enlightened. I said no, but I can always find a parking space in San Francisco, right? So the relative and the absolute coexist. The opposites, all bad and good, they coexist, and that's how they free each other. They dissolve in meditation. So there's no more opposite, there's no more suffering, there's no more thinking. You are just sitting there without thinking. Maybe one thought in 40 minutes. The one thought is necessary because that means you're still alive. If you have no thoughts, you'll be dead. Okay? 2 thoughts is thinking, so you have to go back to 0 again. It is and it isn't. And the word Tathagata is another honorific title for the Buddha. Tata, Tathagata. It means thus gone, thus come. Thus means suchness, the suchness within yourself. Thus gone, thus come. Actually, there's no going nor coming. It means back here, where you are, wherever you are. There's no other place to be, but you have to be wherever you are. Maybe that's the most difficult thing. Even sitting here, are you here? You know? So, yay, Dharma. Try to remember that. Oh, take it to heart. Don't take it as words, but the meaning. Take the meaning. There is cessation to cause. And so, prior to thinking is where you're aiming for, where you're going. Because thinking is, first is thinking. Thinking leads to discrimination. Discrimination leads to expecting. Expecting means knowing. And those 4 is what we're taught in school. What we're taught all our life. But it's prior to those 4. That's where you want to go. And then you think. And then you discriminate. But you don't discriminate. You have aroused the impartiality within your inner being. That's insight. So when you get on the airplane, walk down the aisle, you kind of look at the people's faces. This person doesn't like me. Oh, this person likes me. But it really doesn't matter. That's the world. So when it doesn't really matter, it is the Pure Land, wherever you go. You have to smile a little bit and not think that that person over there is going to be difficult, is going to be happy, is good looking, looking bad. Those are all the conditions that we have to get through just to see the person from your inner self. So you know, like a lampshade, I always use this analogy. You have the light in the middle, but you have a lampshade. And when the light hits the shade, it bounces back to your light. And that's the one that can't be named, nor touched, nor even sought after. Because the more you seek for it, it's more elusive. You allow it to come to you. Ask it for a cup of tea. Okay. Oh, so Subhuti, yeah. Ye Dharma. Yeah, there's not much more to say. The rest is the work, and it is a free country, but yet it is not, because you are in the palm of Buddha's hand. Any questions? Maybe this is a good time to stop. Yes.
The proclamation you're talking about, the Dharma, is that in the Diamond Sutra? Or you
I'm not sure. I looked it up in the glossary. I think now, Ye Dharma. I looked it up in a dictionary, the Vajra, the Diamond Sutra, and it cites out Ye Dharma. I could repeat it again.
Well, it's with the Tibetan mantras that I've learned, we always close a session with saying that whole proclamation.
Oh, I see.
And so then I was wondering,
Yeah.
Where that.
Yeah, this is the proclamation,
Yeah.
the cessation,
Yeah.
the cessation of suffering. Ye Dharma. Yes.
Question about, you mentioned blessing of statues.
Yes.
I have a really beautiful statue of Avalokiteshvara somebody gave me, and I would not want to think of her trapped.
Yeah.
So how do I?
You have to get someone to bless it.
You have to take it somewhere or have somebody come and bless
Okay.
it. Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay.
But when the person, the being blessed, they don't do anything. So we're taught to produce something, to create something. I'm going to bless it. You don't do. Your mind stops thinking.
Well, it's interesting because I don't feel that's an unblessed statue. I feel connected with that.
You feel, but you have to have a person that knows how to bless it, to make it to make it true. Yeah, you could feel that way, of course, but you need someone that's been trained that way to do it. Okay? Okay, thank you.